fucking diseased, corrupt temple down on your head. It's gotta be biblical.
Happy Friday. Welcome to Patriots Across The Pond and Frens with Elisa and Stu and Rene. We are on episode 12 of REDPILLING Rene, an awakening journey in real time. How's everybody doing?
I'm great.
Good.
How are you with your electrodes in your head, Rene?
Well, it was amazing. Elisa is referring to the modern day cure to baldness, this little machine here, contraption. And to give you an idea of how good of a day I'm having, the timing was 1 second before the show started. The beeping started, which means my laser treatment finished. 1 second.
Wow.
Perfect. Absolute synchronicity right there.
I mean, it's just the universe. It helps me. It is with me. I'm one with the universe.
Hey, let me tell you, I heard a synchronous story the other day. My daughter works at the hotel over here, and the boss says to her, she's new. He says, "Listen, we overbooked the king rooms, so try to get people, try to see if you could get guests into some of the other rooms that are upgraded. So it's going to cost them more, but they have a balcony and all this stuff." So she says, "Okay." The very next customer that came into the hotel says to her, "Hey, I was wondering if I could get an upgrade."
As a matter of fact, you can.
Can you imagine? And then she told her boss, the boss was like, "Oh my God, how did you do it? That's great." And she's like, "Yeah."
She's like, "Well, you haven't met my mom."
It's just like, I think it's just everywhere. I think if you pay attention, I think it's just the synchronicities are just happening more and more and more.
It's all law of attraction. I am a firm believer in the law of attraction. If you put it out there hard enough, it will happen.
Yeah.
You just need to put thought to action. And in my experience, at least, when I have wanted something bad enough, for example, I want the dog to be quiet. See?
So do I.
The dog is quiet.
Okay, sorry.
I just proved my point.
Scared the shit out of me. Now, you sent me a text this morning, Rene, saying you need us to teach you, and you've been with Normie.
I've been in Normie land. I've just been doing a lot of just lawyer work. I haven't been in the ether this week. So if there's stuff that you guys want to show me, it'll prompt my ability to think about it. We could talk about it. Maybe put some stuff in front of my eyes that you think I should see.
Well, I want to just say something, Stu, and maybe it won't mean as much to him, but I think this Phil thing is just so incredible that has happened over the last few days. And it just shows you that we don't know what the F is really happening. So we've talked about a guy that we followed for a number of years. He's a little controversial. Some people hate him. Some people think he's great. Doesn't matter. The point is he's been podcasting for like 6 years. According to him, He has, you know, tens of millions of people that tune in. He's Stu and I always keep an open mind with everyone, so we don't like follow the narrative if we've listened to the information and then discern it. However, he had a really great narrative. You know, we knew there was something a little special about his connections. We assumed from some of the Q&As that he does, where he just answers either yes or no, that he had something to do somewhere, somehow, either with the CIA, the NSA. He had connections very high up that he was getting his intel from. And he had this life, you know, he was married, he has 2 kids, he was in real estate, and, you know, had a very successful business. And he had like a basement or a room in his house with like brick wall behind it and all kinds of props, you know, like flags and Trump stuff. And he's very calm oriented. So his shirts, his hats, they always meant something, right? So we're watching this for 6 years. He's broadcasting from his house, right? Sometimes he broadcasts from his other house in Arizona, his house in Pennsylvania. And then lo and behold, the other day, Stu says, check this out. It's going to blow your mind. And he clips a certain part of the video. And we want to just show you this because it's so wild.
All right, let's do it. Stu, we can't hear you.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Hear me now. Right, and so since then, just before you came on, Elisa was discovering, because there's been another video posted which somewhat contradicts what he's been saying in this video. And I want to just add something to this as well, that, and I say this again, right? We are watching the biggest whodunit we've ever seen on this planet. We know people are playing roles, wearing masks, fucking clones, actors, people being taken out, people being replaced. There's kayfabe going on everywhere. It's psy-opera, art of war, and all this sorts of stuff. So we are watching all these characters. Now, I use this analogy once more. If you're watching Harry Potter, right, there's 8 films in that series, I believe. Now, everyone used to hate Professor Snape, but it wasn't until the end that everyone found out Dumbledore, Professor Snape, was the only one he could really trust, right, that was protecting Harry. So he was playing this vicious character all the time that hated Harry, whereas he was doing the exact same role. And in this awakening playing out, we have to keep these things in mind, that any one of these people, I mean, most of us trust Donald Trump implicitly, the only person, but we know there's more than one Trump. He's fucking 6'3" one day, 5'3" the next day. There's so much weirdness going on, and I want to watch it all. And another thing I want to say about this Phil character, he has been through a court case with a young girl. He's talked about it. I've watched his deposition. Nick Alvea did a film about him being a pedo. Phil returned the favour by doing a film about Nick Alvea. There's just so much more to this, that when people say to me, you don't watch that pedo, do you? Do you know what I mean? I have to take a step back and go, listen, I want to watch everything, because I do believe Trump, the military, the NSA, whoever, and God especially, are watching everyone anyway. So when this all plays out, if anyone's been bullshitting us, they're going to get their comeuppance, you know, and vice versa. Some of these people we hate, right, potentially. Look at Lindsey Graham. You know, he's a neocon, and he's all this Ukraine stuff and all this fuckery he's been involved in. But he's out there playing golf with Trump.
Exactly.
Trump does most of his business on the golf course and all these things. So it's just, we have to bear all this in mind. I don't, you know, even Trump as well. I have said that Trump is a hero of mine, but I don't, you know, we should only kneel to our creator in this. This is, you know, we should not worship false idols. So because we post stuff, people are posting, or any of these characters in this movie, whether they turn out to be good and bad, we are watching it unfold, right? And I want to watch it unfold with anyone. So if anyone says to me, oh, why are you watching that, pedo? Because someone else said this and all that. I want to make my own mind up about everyone.
And he also, the court case, it did show, like, he didn't get there was a lot of stuff that showed that this was not just like him being a pedo. It was like a girl who he thought was older. They met, it was one of those kinds of things. So
Yeah.
it wasn't like he was out with little kids and stuff like that. It was, she was underage. And he was a lot younger, when this happened. So
Yeah.
that's, yeah. Anyway, so this is the video we see.
Right. This is a video I saw a couple of days ago.
I can't wait to see what the hell you guys are talking, because I'm listening like, oh, I'm going to be watching kiddie porn. I get it. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think that's allowed. All right.
Right. Just watch this.
Well, he's clearly confused. He's from Arizona and New York simultaneously.
Well, a lot of people.
Go ahead.
A lot of people have said all the way through this, he wears comms on his shirts and stuff, and all sorts of things. I mean, he has made some very bold claims that he was in charge of the 6, and the other 5 people in that are people like Kash Patel, Steve Bannon, 3 others, weren't there? I can't remember who they were at the moment, coordinating this mission. He has also made claims that him and his mate were approached how to write the Q drops, right, and go into 4chan at the time and
set up the
so this is the guy that may have started Q.
The formatting of it, the site, not necessarily posting.
There's a lot of people think he's the character called Edward Snowden as well. There's just so much into this. This is why I want to watch it all, and I want to watch it unfold.
Let's do it. Let's see it.
Yeah. So, and try not to talk through it, Rene, because when you talk and the video's on,
no, I'll be quiet.
Can't hear it.
I'll be quiet. I promise.
All right.
For 6 years, I sat at this desk, that same wall, this same microphone, changed it a few times, this same room. And every night I told you something bigger is coming, something you can't see yet, but I can. The truth is, today I want to show you what I see. I'm not home right now. I'm not in Pennsylvania. I'm not even in the United States. I'm not even talking into this microphone. I'm in Minsk. I'm in Belarus. I'm in a virtual production studio with a team behind me recording all of it. And the reason I'm here is because what we're building no longer fits behind a desk. Now, here's where it gets truly terrifying. I told you about Google Willow, but I didn't tell you about the acceleration behind this. AI and quantum computing feed each other. AI is used to design better quantum computers, and quantum computers are used to train better AI. It's a self-accelerating loop. And this is where I want to tell you something that blew my mind. The team behind Atom Quantum, they didn't just build a blockchain. They built AI super agents. And a super agent is not ChatGPT like most people think it might be. It's a complex AI ecosystem that operates like an entire IT company. One super agent replaces 100 developers. One operator commands the productive power of thousands of engineers. Think about that. Think about how fast you can build post-quantum algorithms when you have the equivalent of 10,000 engineers working 24/7. That is why this project moves so fast. In 5 years, they built what normally would take 15 years. This isn't a team of 50 guys in a basement. This is a team of operators commanding an army of artificial intelligence, building an ark at the speed the world has never seen.
Now, just quickly, I didn't need to play all that. The main point I wanted to show you there was the fact that he wasn't sitting in his basement, you know.
No, but I have no idea where he's going with this, but what he was just talking about is something that I think about every day.
Okay, so let me just stop you. Let me just stop you, because I was saying I didn't need to play all of that. I just wanted to show you that, but I let it play out because I know how interested you are in this AI stuff. So maybe the last minute and a half of that you could educate Elisa and I on, But what we wanted to show was the fact that everything we see. I mean, everyone knows where I am. I can take my background off. I'm sitting under the stairs. Do you know what I mean? But we are seeing a lot of fuckery going on, and I need people to be aware of this. So don't want to turn this into the Phil Godlewski show either. But it's current, and let's talk about it. So, what was he saying there at the last minute and a half? 2 minutes. You're muted, Elisa.
It was very interesting when he sat at the new desk. And what did we see behind him? We saw the queue in what looked like a Stargate.
Exactly.
So that wasn't a decoration.
I don't know what it was. It was some kind of comm.
Who knows?
And
so I'm still very confused. I found what he said to be completely engaging, but I have no idea where he's coming from or where he's going.
Well, to me, the content of what he's saying could be a whole separate thing. The key was that everyone that's been watching this guy assumed he was in his basement. Now, was he? Or was he in this studio in Minsk?
Well, here's what's fucked up about absolutely everything right now. The studio in Minsk might be a creation.
Exactly.
Like, you don't know. Like, literally, this is my answer for everything else. I don't know.
Yeah.
And I think that once you are able to just do this, literally about everything, you could actually find some peace, because this is insane what's going on right now. You don't know which way is up, which way is down, what reality is. And I think if enough people are in that state, I don't know what to believe, because we've never been in that state. You used to know what is, what isn't.
Well, we thought we knew, and we were confident about it.
But at least you can count on some level of reality as far as what you can smell and see. But now it's like, I don't know.
Yeah. Right, now I just want to show you something else, because we might as well play this and go through this a little bit. I saw he's been posting videos of him meeting his business partner out in Minsk, getting off a private jet and all this sorts of stuff. So he's just posted a new video, which I've only just seen. I spoke to Elisa about it, but I noticed something very key in this. So I won't give you any clues. I'm going to play about a minute and a half of it, and then tell me what you hear.
Okay.
I got you something. Okay. You were never wearing the right soccer jersey, so I figured I'd get you this one. Thank you. I got you that shit. See you, buddy.
Thank you guys so much. That was the best pickup from the airport ever.
Smooth, certainly was.
Very smooth.
You are our guest. So, to the hotel, we need near 40 minutes.
Okay.
Dima is a professional driver. He did that so politely.
I'm surprised how nice this countryside is.
It's very country.
When I think of Russia or Belarus, I think snow. You know what I mean? I don't think of bright green fields and farming and all this stuff. It's just not what I had in mind. When every video game I've ever played, every movie that you've ever seen, I've always seen barren landscape with snow and everybody freezing and stuff like that. And I purposely didn't do too much research on Belarus. I knew I was coming. I just didn't know when, so I didn't really look up to get to it and see all this stuff. But I didn't do that. I wanted to see it myself and either be surprised or whatever. So I was surprised.
Well, there's two things I've noticed anyway. But what did you notice about that from the previous video I've just shown you? Anything?
I mean, I don't know what I was supposed to be looking for. I just saw, you know, a guy with a good-looking girlfriend getting off a private jet.
Okay, well, I'll tell you the two things. Could you hear him when he was talking in the car? Okay.
Not perfectly, a little bit.
Okay, so, right. Two
Talking
things.
about video games and what he expected for, you know, Ukraine to look like.
Yeah, and a beautiful countryside. So, okay, there's two things I've noticed since that. Number one, he's just split up with his missus, allegedly, Kerry, and he's got a bird with him. So he's either quick to move on, or Kerry was playing a part in this at the time anyway, which as Lisa has said. But the main thing he said there, in the previous video, he said he hasn't been sitting there for 6 years, right? He's been in the studio in Minsk. But he's just said in the video here, right, that he's just turned up in Minsk, that he never expected the countryside to look like that, which tells me that he's only just got there. He hasn't been there sitting in that fucking warehouse for 6 years.
Yeah, but Minsk is in Belarus. That's what he said. So maybe where he...
Right, Minsk is Belarus, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he said Russia.
Sure. I think, let me just make sure. I think it is.
Yeah, it is.
Pretty sure.
I also noticed everything looks like a Stargate now, because when they were in that walking through that
yeah,
hotel,
it's Belarus.
Yeah, so there's a couple of things there. Obviously, you know, people do move on, and you know, he said whatever. You know, he's talked about his break up with Kerry. You know, blah blah blah. But yeah, it was just that's the first thing I heard. Well, hold up a minute. If you've been sitting in front of a green screen for 6 years, why didn't you know the country was beautiful and green out there? So you haven't obviously been there for 6 years. You know, and I did say to Elisa as well that potentially that he has been sitting in his house for 6 years and other places because he's done videos on location, hasn't he? But they've just built a set to look like his house. Quite easy to do.
Well, listen, Student of the Tree said the operation isn't meant to be figured out because it wouldn't be an operation.
Yeah.
And just get your popcorn and pay attention. You're getting disclosure on many levels.
So the basement of his house is a studio. Everything is a studio. So this guy, I guess, is being protected. Is that what I'm supposed to glean from this? That he's
yeah, maybe because the
his
other
identity is being protected, his location is being protected.
Yeah, well, maybe.
Which adds credibility to whatever he's saying, right? If someone's being protected. Does that make sense?
The other thing I've thought as well is the fact that he is, you know, over like the last 5-6 years, he's been posting pictures. Well, he used to get a phone call from the children every night and go on mute, right? So then he used to talk to his kids like, and if I was the deep state, I'd have got a lip reader in, you know, to find out what he was saying. Is he talking to his kids or not? But I was going to say something else there, but I can't remember.
Got pictures and family.
Yeah. He's constantly posting pictures of him out on vacations and different places like that. And if I was the deep state and he was a massive character, I don't think it would have been too hard to take him out, you know, with a bullet or whatever. If he was that important in it. So has he been protected? Have the Patriots been in control a long more time? Is he fucking full of shit? Do you know what I mean? You have to think of all these things.
Yeah,
I mean,
so if he's an enemy of the deep state and he's publishing where he is, he could be tracked.
Yeah. And go on, Elisa. I was going to say something and I can't remember.
Okay. Yeah, I guess it just goes to what you said, Rene. We just don't know. We just take it all in. We, you know, observe everything, try to make sense of it. And when you discern the information, not necessarily the person who's giving it to you per se, everything is like a little clue, you know, to just expand what we thought was to what might be.
This is sounding like a Beautiful Mind. Remember that movie, A Beautiful Mind? I mean, I guess you have to become schizophrenic to understand it, right?
Yeah.
I just want to say a couple more things about him because obviously a lot of people have watched a lot of stuff, and some people haven't watched that much stuff, and that fucking pedo Phil Godforski, people call it, all these sorts of things, because many of his shows he's getting people into silver, fillers on, all these other things, money making schemes, right? But pretty much he's made himself a lot of money, and people don't like him for that, but also he's made other people a lot of money in what he's been telling. And he's never talked about crypto before, really, has he? It's always been sort of gold and silver and stuff.
Yeah.
But two things. So he, whether you think he's a patriot because he's just doing it for himself, or he's part of the know and he's trying to push, like Matt Geiger, do you know? I'd never equate the two, but Matt Geiger wants to help people by getting silver and gold out to people because we all what's coming. So you could say Phil's been playing a part in that, right, to get people involved and stuff like that. But one other thing, right, a lot of people out there who are podcasters, who we all watch, charge you to pay premium content, right? So they've got a firewall, right? This is my normal show, but if you want to get into the nitty gritty and stuff, you've got to pay me $6 a month and all this stuff, right?
Right.
This geezer Phil has never charged anyone to watch any of his stuff. Now, you could say that comes from both sides as well. Is it good information and he wants to get it out there free because it's white hats? Or is he misleading us, which is why it's free, for the cabal side?
Right. But
this is where I just put it, and I always say this, right? Watch everything, listen to everyone, read all that you can, never believe anything unless you can prove it in your own rights. And everyone should do that. No one should listen. Well, you can listen to me and Elisa and Rene and, you know, every other person, but it's ultimately up to you to go and do your own research into topics everyone is discussing.
yeah. And I will say one thing, and again, I'm not like, it's not like the, you know, the Phil show here, but every Christmas for the past 3 years, he's given away a lot of money. He's you have to write your story, and he's given away, I don't know, $100,000 or $150,000 to his listeners. You know, like I don't know any other podcaster who's ever done that. You know, so we will see what happens. But I do think he is whether you like him or you hate him, he's a key player in all of this and what his, you know, information is. So anyway,
who do you think he is? What do you guys think about this guy? What do you think?
We heard through somebody pretty.
Now, what you heard, what do you think? Because that's a different question.
Working, my own personal opinion, I think he's somehow connected with the NSA, the good side of intelligence. I do. I think he's probably connected to more people than we know, like real insiders. He's obviously very smart. You know, you could tell he's a very smart guy. He's a young guy. He's like 41 or something. And I do believe a lot of the stuff he says, because when it comes to like him saying he's part of, like he said he's met Trump, he said these things, he said some very big, bold statements. And the reason is he's never been deplatformed, you know, maybe when we all were, but I'm saying he's saying some pretty bold things not to have people come out and really in the know, cut him off. And also what's really funny is his channels have in brackets before it, fake.
And he's the only person that does that?
Yeah, but it makes you wonder, like, is it all fake?
Or
he says, it's got set up and I can't figure out how to get it off. This is like a programmer. This is a guy who people have said, whether I think it or not, has helped create Telegram.
Really?
You can't take the fake away, you know?
Okay.
Let's just remind everyone what it said in Q-Drop 461, January the 4th, 2018. What makes a good movie? Great actors. Now, everyone's been to the cinema, right? and watch these Hollywood blockbusters and all this sorts of stuff. But can anyone honestly say, hand on their heart, they start watching a movie and they know who the gangster is or who the criminal is before the end? You know, every single time. I suggest.
I think the best movies keep you guessing, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that is Sun Tzu, the art of war. That's the whole point of what Trump does. I may do it. I may not do it. Who knows?
He does that all day. He does it all day.
He's brilliant at it. He's master of the weave.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, let me just play one more thing then as we're going into this. This is a 10-minute video from Mark Abrahams, who we love. And while we're on this subject, we don't need to go into it anymore because people just need to keep their eyes open and look at it. And sorry, people, I haven't paid attention to the chat at all. It's really interesting, but I'm going to go and read everything people are saying after this. This was a call-in to Mark Abrahams' show. And I believe this is about a year old. So this is 10 minutes. Whether I play it all or not, I don't know. But
right. Can I ask you guys, this is kind of a segue, but I would like your opinion. I don't know if you're versed on what's going on between Good Lion Films and Phil Godlewski. It's like a reality show. It's more entertainment than it is. What do you think? What can you tell us about that? What kind of opinion can you give, guidance on that?
Well, the only thing that I'll say on it, I'm not going to get in the middle of their argument or anything else.
I understand.
What I can tell you very simply is that there are a lot of people out there who are formulating an opinion without checking facts. And I'm not saying that I support Phil or that I don't support Phil, but I can tell you flat out that the allegations being made are not what the court decided. It's not what the end result was.
Right.
And when you think about the fact that the man happens to have 2 sons and now 2 daughters through the marriage, and his sons were allowed to be with him at his wedding, I don't think the courts would allow that. I don't think his ex-wife would allow those kids to be there in the Dominican Republic if he was a pedophile. I just don't think that would happen. And I don't think that he would be, we have laws in this country about sex offender. They're registered.
Yeah.
And he's not registered as a sex offender. So where do you come off calling somebody pedophile when they were never found guilty of pedophilia? We had a discussion about this earlier. That what he pled to was not corrupting the morals of a minor, but something to do with the endangering the welfare of a minor.
Right.
If you see a kid down the block, or you see a couple of 15-year-olds down the block, and they turn to you and say, "Hey, would you do me a favor? Here's $20. Would you go in and buy us a bottle of booze?" And you go in and do it. Guess what? You're endangering you're corrupting the morals of a minor. Okay, the drinking law is 21 years of age. That doesn't mean that you raped them. That doesn't mean that you had sex with them. If you go and you leave the kids in the car, you're endangering the welfare of a child. There's a whole bunch of things that feeds into, but none of them is what he pled to or what he was found guilty of. And I think that these people who are taking such a stance about it have not bothered to check their facts. They're getting, this is what I said earlier about the angry mobs, they're getting on the bandwagon and think that, if you've got a few hundred people there screaming the same thing, it makes it so. It doesn't. It doesn't.
Well, even though they show the receipts in the movie, the film?
They're not showing the receipts. When you go to trial, have you ever been to court?
No.
Okay. When you go to court, there is a procedure that's followed, and there's discovery, and you bring out evidence, and you bring out what you're charging the person with, and you bring out your supporting evidence. Well, when the defense attorney starts going at it and kicks all that stuff to the curb, and they dismiss all of that information as non-factual, you can sit there and wave it all you want. The judge has already said, no, okay, no basis for that. And that's what happened if you go and you check all of the information. So Where are your facts and receipts? You're taking the facts that you want to be facts and waving them in everybody's face and making them facts.
Okay.
And this is, look, 46 years in the mainstream media. I'm telling you,
Yeah.
people make up what they want and they put it out there. And if enough people say it, and I hate to say it about our own, but Americans are lazy.
Yeah.
Okay? They're just plain lazy. They hear it. Oh, you know, this guy said it, and he said it on a podcast. It's got to be so. Or, you know, the anchor on Channel 2 said it. It's got to be so. No. Get off your ass. Go look it up and find out the facts. Okay? And then make your decision. But until you go and you find out the facts, don't go and listen to somebody else and say, oh, it's got to be so. He said it. It's got to be so. No.
The other thing that's really confusing me right now, and General McInerney, General Flynn, one other general have all come out and said that we're not going to have a 2024 election. But then you constantly hear about the election. What's your opinion on that? I mean, because that comes up a lot. And I, you know, I still believe that we won't have a 2024 election. But, you know, I try to respect other people's opinion, and because they're jamming it down our throats right now, 2024 elections.
Who's jamming it down our throat?
A lot of the podcast. Let me turn up my sound.
Who else is jamming it down our throats? Where do you hear it mostly? Where are you watching the campaigns and
the rallies and that? Yeah.
Okay, you're watching them on the mainstream media. I'm not going to use that epithet, but shut off the TV.
I watch the clips that are posted, you know, on Telegram and social media, and he is, you know, keeps pushing it for optics. I know. But,
I'm going to interrupt you for a second.
Yeah, go ahead.
How many truthers do you watch?
Oh gosh, I think about 20 on Telegram, 74 on Twitter.
Okay, on the more quote unquote popular ones, what is the one common phrase or common direction that everybody has pointed? That we are watching
a movie.
Okay. And the purpose of that movie is to do what?
Wake up the normies to distract the deep state as well.
Okay. Now, do you believe that doddering old clown is Joe Biden?
Oh, no, I knew that a long time ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then why would you believe that after we've had a stolen election in 2016 to make the first part of this happen, and then a stolen election in 2020 to make us be in a position to expose everything to everybody, what would make you believe that they would actually go through an election in 2024 and risk the chance that the deep state pulls a rabbit out of their hat and makes them win again and just sinks this entire thing?
Well, I'll remember that when I'm out in public and that discussion comes up, because I believe that there won't be a 2024 election. I totally believe that we are in continuity of government.
We are.
Yeah.
We are.
And we're
listen to Derek Johnson.
I know. I love him. He
Okay.
was the best thing that came to the truth of community, because he, you know, you can't refute what he says. It's all there.
Oh, you can if you don't go and check the facts, like I said about the Godlewski case.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the simple thing. He's telling you to go and check the facts, but the screaming mob on the other side doesn't want you checking those facts because, you know, it might ruin the sales of the people watching Alvear's movie there.
Yeah.
So everybody's got an agenda. Okay.
Yes, you do.
Like I said, I came from the MSM, but a lot of that has been transferred to alternative media. That's why I say you have to learn to discern. You've got to sit, you've got to watch, you've got to listen, and use this for more than a hat rack.
Oh, yeah. I pray
One
for
thing
that.
that popped up here, if I can pop in here, is when you're being ram-fed something, what do you believe about it? Nothing. It's the one thing you don't do.
Okay.
We've learned that.
Yeah. Okay, guys. Great.
I appreciate you.
Yeah, just quickly, I got kicked off of the chat room with Dave and Dave's Telegram page.
I think that's enough of the play there. There's a couple more minutes of that, but Yeah, let me just say that's obviously 2 years old. I think actually I made a mistake there. So obviously that's before the 2024 election. Mark in the chat, I just want to say I know that was a bit soft on the audio, but I had to screen record that, and it wasn't the best recording. Mark Abrahams there has been in the mainstream media for 47 years. He worked for the enemy. And he knows it, which is why he came out and does his podcast shows. So, you know, he's of great discernment and stuff. And I just want to show you one other thing as well. Let me just take my background off, and I can show you that I am under my stairs. Because while I was watching that, I was just digging into my lip seal, and
I see you made a nice heart there.
well, I didn't do it on purpose. That's the point. I just stuck my finger in it and went, oh, wow, I'm talking about synchronicities. So there we go.
Now, what do you feel you want to, we were trying to this was a whole exercise in the movie, I guess. But are there other things that you're following or that you're hearing?
I'm not really, I'm telling you, I've been planning my trip for my family trip. I put like a lot of time into it. So we're going to, I think I mentioned it, we're going to Scandinavia.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to do that trip. So I've been, getting the hotels and, activities and everything that goes into a family vacation.
Nice.
Including your wife saying, oh, we should do one less day here, one more day here. And my answer was, I specifically found places that are not overly expensive. So if we have to cut here, we add there. I don't care. It's all within the budget.
Right.
That is the secret to marriage. Maintain flexibility. Do not maintain, a very specific route, and be able to dodge and bob and weave. And the answer is, of course, that's why I designed it that way, so we can modify it as we go along. It's a vacation, after all.
Unless you have a partner who lets you do everything and doesn't have an opinion.
We both have opinions. My wife and I, we both have opinions.
Yeah.
And my son is just happy to be doing this. He's just he can't wait. He can't wait. He's counting the days. He had a concert the other day. He plays the saxophone as well, and he sings. So we went to his chorus and he played the sax. That was like really nice. But everything is Scandinavia. But anyway, so that's why I haven't really been up on stuff. I've just been in in what I've been dealing with. That's pretty much it.
Okay. I mean, we had some very interesting shows over the last week, ranging from a woman named Michelle Peterson, who got the first anti-grooming law passed in this country, and is now going state to state to have that passed because her son had been groomed by a teacher, to having several individuals who were, who are very, very knowledgeable and in the know on things like crypto, but also geopolitics. Okay, that was a really interesting show on Tuesday because this individual.
So I have been following the crypto world, and I'll tell you right now, there's a lot of crap going on right now. It's really fascinating to watch. It really is. So the crypto world right now is going through a major crash. Mm-hmm. And which is interesting. So whenever you have a crash in something, in any one thing, it creates opportunities for some, and it's essentially defeat for others. So, I had this conversation with my friend this morning because he just came into some money, mm-hmm. which I actually helped get him this money. So he's now looking at this as an opportunity, and he's actually going to buy a whole bunch of crypto this morning. And I have another friend who was buying during the hype period, who's in absolute depression. And then you have me who doesn't care. It's like, because I create rules for myself, which I abide by because I'm a sick cat. So my rule is that nothing can be considered to be sold until the year 2030. 2030. Why 2030? Because it's a round number, and I picked 2030. So for someone like me that doesn't really sell, I just buy stuff. It's like, oh, that's nice. Maybe I'll buy a little more. Maybe I won't. It doesn't matter. But it's the ability to have a long-term perspective on things in life, which is what allows you, I think, to enjoy life.
Yeah.
Because too many people get caught in the exact moment and they live like this whipsaw life, like everything is stressful. And it's hard to take like an eagle eye perspective. So with me with crypto, I have a very eagle eye perspective where I feel absolutely nothing, but I believe in it enough in the long term to know that certain projects are very important. That much I know. A lot of projects are complete bullshit, but that applies the same to what we do here on Truthing.
Right.
We have to be able to figure out the wheat from the chaff. And it's not easy to do. It really isn't.
Yeah. I think you just have to be open. I mean, from my perspective, I think at this point, again, it's my opinion, that everything somehow, some way, whether it's crypto, gold and silver, the market, or anything financial, currency, I think it all are offshoots of what the military operation is right now. Because when you're taking down such a huge enemy,
Mhm.
and if it has been taken down already and we're just watching the movie now play out, the point is everything is very is connected to that somehow. So how and what's going to happen, I have no clue. But I do believe that the financial, you've got good and evil, and money has been used to control us, right? Money, fear.
Well, I'll tell you what you guys have really done for me. So I used to have a very democratic mentality, and I use the word democratic not as a political party, but it's almost like a very American mentality. Like, if you work hard, if you find something important that has value, that you can make money. So with all this cabal talk, I've come to the realization that the best you could do to be uber successful is to kind of figure out where the cabal is going to be, in terms of investing, and kind of be there as well. Because I've come to the realization that certain people control everything. The richest 1%. I'm a 1% guy, but I'm not a 0.0001% guy.
Right.
It's that 0.00001% guys that control absolutely everything.
Yeah.
So that's, it's very humbling, because, I like to think that I had some control, but I realized that it's almost like you got to figure out what they're planning so that you can get like the breadcrumbs of what they're doing. For example, space exploration. Will I ever be, founding a company that does space exploration? No. Will I ever be building a nuclear power plant? No. But you have to think in terms of that 0.0001%. How are they going to be making their money? And then you kind of have to get a little piece of it. Because at the end of the day, they're the ones that control everything.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to pay for that, because they won't have any left with Trump's executive orders taking it all from them. So you don't want to.
No, I know. But yeah. I also have to, believe in progress. See, that's the thing. It's not just the cabal. It's some of these businesses represent the future of mankind. The need for energy. Can we all agree that we all need good energy sources in the future. We do.
Yeah, unless it's free energy technology has been hidden from us.
Right, that Tesla invented.
No,
that.
I agree. I'm a big, Nikola Tesla guy. I agree, but I also know what Edison did and how he was able to monetize, and
Because he had the cabal behind him.
yes, he did.
Exactly.
Yes, he did.
Exactly, and
Yes, he did.
Humanity had two paths.
Yes, yes, they did.
Magnetism, free energy, ether, one to call it, or Edison, and electricity and the light bulb and all sorts of things. And they went that route, and they've hidden this from. There is still 6,000 patents that have been hidden from humanity. Josh Reed says all the time, we are about to make a 500-year leap in technology over the next decade or so. 500 years.
Well, yeah, I mean, what that speaker was talking about AI feeding AI, and quantum computers feeding AI that then feed the quantum computers, and that whole loop.
Right.
We're about to enter some reality that will, if you look at human evolution in terms of technology, kind of like this, right. We're about to go like this.
Yeah. And we heard a pretty interesting conversation about this the other day on our show with Brian Monkey, and we were talking about Space Force. And one of the things he said that really resonated was, if all this technology existed, if healing technologies existed, if energy, et cetera, and they've existed for a very long time and they've been hidden, how do you just come out and tell people, right?
Slowly.
Slowly. You mean my mother died this painful death, and there was, right? You'd have craziness. So
you mean to tell me you had the cure for Alzheimer's all along?
Right. Exactly.
And I saw my grandma turn into a piece of fruit.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. So one of the things we were talking about was how maybe Space Force and its creation, if you will, among, I'm sure, other things, was also to present these new technologies so that it comes out in a way that's digestible for people. Because if they come out in a way that makes people feel like they've been duped, which we understand that, but the masses might, not understand because they don't get what's been going on for the last, 10,000 years, then you've got a bigger, a bigger machine, if you will, that's going to introduce these things. But like we said, once they start coming out, like we're saying, it's going to change everything. I mean, they have if they have technology, like they've said, that you don't have, that you're, able to drive above, right? Levitational vehicles. What does that do?
You won't even need any of that. If we've got teleportation devices, you can just go anywhere.
Exactly. You could be in California in like a minute.
You know what? I dream of all this. I think it would be the greatest thing in the world. I know people want it all for themselves.
Yeah. When you've got all the money in the world,
the rich guys want their money. Having money is like a drug. I know people that have hundreds of millions of dollars, and they are there. Oh, you owe me $30 from dinner the other week. It's disgusting because it's never enough. So there's a line from a movie, Wall Street 2. The movie Wall Street with Michael Douglas was the original. This is 2. There's a scene where the young trader is asking this, he's supposed to represent like the CEO of JP Morgan, one of the big banks. Mm-hmm. And he goes to him, what's your number? Everyone has a number. What's yours? And he looks at him and he says, more. true.
Yeah.
Because there is no number. It's infinite to the top.
Well,
is the amount.
Here's the thing too. You either have service to self or service to God and others. And so this is really a lot of what we're in right now. It's this battle of good and evil. And it's the good faction versus the bad faction. I mean, when you strip everything away, and those people that, if God we believe is in control of this, the people that are service to self aren't going to make it in the long run.
That's what we hope. That is really what we hope, because they've created a lot of the problems in this world.
Yeah.
Most of the problems.
Yeah.
And you have to remember too, the more we awaken, like if you follow anything with the Schumann resonance now, it's off the charts. Okay. So that means that the frequency and the vibration of the earth is rising. So as that rises, now why is it rising? Is it rising on its own, or is it rising because we're all raising our frequency? So as that happens, lower density beings, energy can't exist in that, just like disease and that kind of thing. So I think it's a process, but I think that's happening. And that is bringing us to the new level of our evolution, soul wise. And is it going to happen tomorrow? Probably not, but we're on that road. And that's the kind of the purpose, if you will, of our soul journey, right? It's to ascend higher and higher and get closer and closer to source.
Yeah. However this is unfolding, everyone can understand this is why it's taken a long time, because you cannot just drop all this shit. It will be civil war and chaos everywhere, civil unrest. Told us that in the Q drops. I just want to go back to one point you made about not messing about with your crypto or anything until 2030, because it's a nice round number.
But there's a trick. I'm going to tell you what the trick is. So the people that have made the most amount of money in these types of, very risky investments, you know who they are? The people who lose their wallets and find them 10 years later. So I'm thinking, okay, I could be like them. I'll just have it. I won't allow myself to touch it. And then I'll be like a person who lost their wallet.
Yeah.
How's that for a business model?
One of my mates threw away a laptop. I think he had 3 Bitcoin on it or something like that.
Exactly is the point.
He just tossed it away. I mean, there's a lot of
the biggest skill that people don't have when it comes to this type of stuff is not selling. Okay, whatever. Just like wait.
Yeah, that's what I'm like. Look, I've got bits and pieces of everything, and I'm sitting on it. And
same with precious metals, anything.
Yeah, but even if crypto, it all goes to nothing, right? And we move into a new world of truth, technology advancement, and all these fucking criminals get arrested. I will be a rich man anyway. I don't give 2 shits about being rich in that way. It would be nice. I'm hoping for Nasara, Jastara, and, redistribution of wealth and all these things. But it's like I'm not relying on that. I'm relying on the truth coming out and people getting arrested. And
the secret to life, I think, when it comes to these things, is to know, no matter what you do, to know that if it goes completely to zero, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it's when people put their hopes and dreams into things, no matter what it is, and it doesn't turn out to be, that people get destroyed and crushed. Mm-hmm. With me, I don't ever put myself in a situation where if I'm wrong, I'm dead. Elisa knows me. I make very calculated bets. They're big bets, but they're never bets that could kill me ever. Because you know what? I don't know everything.
Yeah. I
don't ever have all the information. You guys are practically investigative journalists, but you don't have all the information.
No way.
You have what you have.
Yeah.
So and there's always the possibility of a black swan, some situation where you weren't expecting.
Right.
You know, like a nuclear bomb, like any bunch of things that could happen that you can't predict, that can like throw your plan completely out the window.
Well, the thing is, because of our investigation, all those things you just mentioned are things we are expecting, which is why I'm just sitting back and let's see what happens. Now, I just want to finish my point, but there's two quick comments here, right? How would I explain and holding all this stuff back to wake up the normies? People are suffering and dying, innocent men and women and children. Fully understand that. This is why it's having to be done as it is. They can't just drop it in one. But I believe once they explain to the people who's actually been in control for the last 100 years and suppressing this, everyone, and wanting to kill us and send people's sons and daughters to war and everything, people will understand. And Mark just said in the chat, in the beginning, people bought their food takeout with Bitcoins. Well, that's right. I think the first Bitcoin transaction, someone bought 2 pizzas, didn't they, with 10,000 Bitcoin or something.
2 pizzas for 10,000 Bitcoins.
Yeah, but just to finish my point, when you said 2030, it made me think of the Q drops and Agenda 2030. Now, in the Q drops, everyone knows the number as 23, as now comes the pain. So I'm hoping for you, Rene, that if we drop the noughts out of 2030, now comes the pain doesn't mean everyone's going to lose their crypto. Maybe it actually refers to in the Q drops that the fact that 2030 was going to be the deep state cabal's finalization of their
cool.
For
I mean, I just picked a number where, okay, I'm 54. I've had a good career, you know, everything is good. I don't plan on killing myself past 2030 doing what I do. All right, 2030.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Right, listen, talking about the Q drops, I've got a couple of points we can talk about. What do you think?
Before this gets loud, because this effing, I don't know who it is now. Gardeners, always gardeners. Is it by your house like that? But anyway, I wanted to also say we had a delightful, that's the only word I could use, an informative conversation this week with G. Edward Griffin, who wrote The Creature from Jekyll Island. He's 94.
Oh. Jekyll Island, Georgia, right?
Yeah. This man, he married a younger woman. He told us that. She's 92. Anyway, he was just the way he talked about it, and his secret to life, because we said, like, what's your secret? And of course it was a little tongue in cheek, but he said his secret is he doesn't put anything on his skin. He won't use, like, he doesn't use like shampoo and all these things, and, you know, to absorb into his body. And I thought that was brilliant. But all kidding aside, you might enjoy that, because this is a guy who started in one place and then ended up in another, writing one of the most really prolific 600-page books that were ever written about a topic that was very, you know, there's a cartel that, you know, was around for all this. And he came out with this book and enlightened a lot of people about what our money system is all about. So you might enjoy that. That interview we did on Tuesday.
Yeah, it's great.
So if you wanna show me something from there, that sounds very interesting. If
it's 2 hours long, that's your homework.
No.
Whether you do it or not, right? We're not telling you anymore. You
know what I would suggest in this case? I would just suggest, if you have, you know, Audible or something, get the book, and then, you know, in your car, whenever you listen to it, it's very, very educational. And he does it in not a dry way. He does it in a storytelling way. You feel like you're listening to a whodunit. So he does it very creatively. But we also had on yesterday Phil from QAG, which is the most, I guess, sophisticated aggregator of all the Q drops.
And everything else. Trump Twitter archive, all Trump Truth social posts. It's got so much information on there. It's amazing.
So what did you guys glean from that? What was there anything that you were like, oh, like, I mean, I know you guys are completely locked into this stuff, but was there anything there that opened your eyes from that?
Well, I'm not really opened my eyes, but it's just for people that, I mean, I go on 8kun every now and then, but it's quite, you know, but the thing is with 8kun and like 4chan. When the Q drops are coming out, they were all on 4chan, right? So people were going there for their information and then transferring it other places. Q hasn't dropped for about 3 years, so information is coming out now. It's almost, you're finding stuff being posted on Telegram and Twitter quicker than it actually goes on 8kun, right? But when all the anons start talking about it on there, so it's interesting. But you've got these aggregator sites. I used to use qmap.pub in like 2018 onwards. You got qanon.pub, qalerts.app, but qag.news is just, there's so much in there. How to look for drops, how to search boxes, and deltas and seconds between deltas and all these things. It's amazing. It is a tool, and I have spoken to Phil about he's going to produce a PDF document, like an instruction manual for it, basically. And because he's spent lots of his own money. And if he can recuperate any money, that's great. I think he's got GoFundMe. We've got to say it yesterday. I don't know what it is, but I'm quite happily going to donate $17 to him to get a copy of that for sure.
So I guess what we gleaned was basically there's this site that can be very overwhelming, right? Because he says my site is not for the beginner. However, any opportunity that anyone can have to read through the Q drops, it's the basis of them telling us what's going on, what already happened, what you're gonna see. And it's fascinating because it is the basis of the entire military operation. And it's where that alliance between the military and the civilian, come together. Because as much as the military is doing things, if you didn't have digital soldiers out there passing the information on, talking about it, decoding it, figuring out the comms, looking at the color of this and the timestamp of that, we are now becoming empowered because that's what this is all about. Taking the power out of Washington and giving it back to we the people, because we need to understand how to stand up for ourselves, to not be fooled, to have a critical eye about things and discernment about things. So I would just encourage, and Phil even said, although his site's very sophisticated, hit a button, play with it, read it. You can break things down. And in our video, we actually have him go through the control bar, the what is that called? The
taskbar.
The taskbar, and go through each thing to show people how to use it. And all I could say about understanding more and more, and I'm far from a decoder of any kind with Q, is that it really does show you more of this master plan and how it's being or has been put into place.
We would be in an awful situation right now watching this unfold if the Q drops hadn't got us involved in this, taught a lot of people to fight, research, dig, and give us an understanding what was going to unfold over the next 10 years. If we hadn't had the Q drops, we'd be in a fucking awful situation now.
Well, so we would just be, la 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 la.
Yeah, and for
scared.
Yeah, and for anyone that doesn't know, right, and wants to go and read the Q drops, like we were talking yesterday, you can go. There's two really good aggregator sites. qalerts.app is that one. qanon.pub. Let me just reverse the order now. It's easy to do. qanon.pub. And in a lot of these drops, you've got answers here, and it explains the drop to you. It's really interesting stuff. This is Phil's site, qag.news. You can just reverse the order, go back to the early drops. But there's so much in here that you can click on. Just get in there and have a play. qag.news. And if anyone does want to go on 8kun, this is where all the live posting goes. And this is constantly updated. This is where people are talking now. You'll see this is auto updating every 10 seconds at the moment. But people are just digging into everything. And it's fantastic stuff to teach yourselves. But I just want to, talking about the Q drops, I wanted to go on to a big story we've heard this week that might interest you, Rene. That Trump has Tulsi Gabbard has left DNI. We hear she's going to go gung-ho, hopefully, over this next month, before June the 30th and release a lot of information. But he has put in Bill Poulter, right?
But she still has the ability to release
until
the Epstein files, correct? She still has the ability. Correct?
Any files, not just
anything.
Election interference, all sorts of stuff. So
where do we stand on that? What do you think she's going to do?
Well, I'm hoping she's going to declass the fuck out of it, if you pardon my French.
Yeah, that'd be great. I mean, if she does that, she will be a great American hero. If she does that.
But maybe she's been a placeholder. Bill Porter's going to do it, or Bill Porter is just a placeholder as well, which I think he is.
Listen,
that's coming
if
in.
you've got the ability to do it, just do it.
Yeah, it all has to be done properly under the rule of law. You know, they can't dots and I's and crossing the T's and all this sort of stuff. But it's coming. You know, in my personal opinion, I guarantee you it's coming. Whoever declasses it. But I just want to show you something very interesting, because Bill Porter, right?
But does she have the power to declassify it?
Yes.
She has the power.
Yeah. So,
so
you know, we think she's been playing a part as a placeholder and stuff like that. You know, we've got her husband's going in for cancer treatment and stuff now, and
allegedly,
and all this sorts of stuff. We have to say allegedly to all these things because, you know, if you just believe something to be it, you'd be stuck. Anyway, Bill Porter, right? He's come out of nowhere almost, but we have learned that Bill Porter has been in charge of many of the financial institutions.
Yeah, but isn't it Pulte, P-U-L-T-E?
Yeah.
Is he related to Pulte Housing?
Maybe.
Like, it's one of the biggest construction companies in the world.
Well, while you're watching Edward Griffin later, you can go down that rabbit hole and let us know, can't you?
Yeah, it's like, because if he's doing housing, what is a housing guy going to do with national?
Exactly.
He has got the dirt on everyone. Mortgage transactions, payments, everything. He knows about everyone's mortgage in the whole of the United States.
Pulte.
Because that's what everybody see. This is another example of Trump, right? People going, what the hell is he doing? That doesn't make any sense. What a stupid thing. Why would you put someone like that in charge of, in charge of that department? But here's the other thing I want to tell you. This was illuminating for me this week. When we see Trump,
is Bill Pulte related to Pulte Homes? Let's see what it says. The question. Let's see. The short answer is yes. Rene knows. Bill Pulte directly connected to the company historically known as Pulte Homes. He is the grandson of William J. Pulte, the entrepreneur who founded the home building business, one of the biggest in the world. Home building business that grew into one of the largest residential construction companies in the United States. That family connection has played a major role in public interest surrounding his rise in both business and government. He's a billionaire.
Okay, but here's the thing. A couple of things. One, was he a bad guy? Is he being controlled? Does he have the goods? Is he a good guy? And now he's going to commit. Like, we don't know this. All we know is the narrative of what it looks like, that we know he has the goods. So there's a lot of information that's probably going to get divulged, because remember, this is a takedown, right? Big pharma, education department, like each thing, it's like the dominoes are just falling to get rid of the bad, infiltrate, get rid of the bad, bring in the new, and then have it be operating in a new way. So that's one thing with this. But the other thing I was going to say is that we never, this week when we were talking to Brian made a really good point. When you see Trump endorsing people, which how we have heard military, this is a military operation, military is the only way, right? It's very interesting because Trump aligns himself publicly either with people that are so compromised and so disgusting, like Fauci, to bring them out into the forefront so that it could be disclosed, or it's someone from the military. And if you start to look at all the people he's endorsing for their military, so this tells us that it's not just about like the military coming in on trucks and vehicles and, a martial law looking situation.
It's intelligence.
It's about the military also being part of the government and in important places because they're taking the power away from these, career politicians and these compromised cabal players. So I found that really interesting. And remember, do you know Lee Zeldin? Remember he ran for governor, right?
In New York.
New York. And now he's head of the EPA. I just said, let me look at that, because what's this guy in New York? Now he's in a government. He has a huge military background, including being part of the 82nd Airborne Division. Oh. So it's just another fold, another thing like that we're looking at of how this plan, like how deep the chess game is.
See, there's a side of me that just wonders, why Pulte? Okay. And there's a side of me that just says, he's a real estate guy. He's Trump's buddy. That's it.
But you know him as a real estate guy publicly. He could have been part of this operation for 30 years. He could have been part of the good guys. Right? Part of this. Well, let me show you something. Right?
But he comes from a huge real estate family. Mm-hmm. Donald Trump comes from a huge real estate family. They're both builders. Pulte Homes, Trump builders. Sometimes I think that, Occam's razor, the easiest explanation is the most likely.
Yeah.
I think he trusts him.
Yeah. And Trump is all about trust. Remember the video?
I think they're from the same world. They know each other a long time and he trusts them. That's what I think. I mean, I think that's got to go into the calculus. It has to, because he only wants to be surrounded by people that he could trust.
Yeah.
Right. Let me just play this 18-second clip.
Say I'd like to maybe lose everything for a period of time to see who's loyal and who's not loyal. And I found out a lot of things.
Did you find out who's loyal and not loyal?
I tell you what, and you can't guess it. You can't predict it. You think certain people would be loyal no matter what, and it turns out that they're not. And you just can't predict it.
Yeah, exactly. Now, I want to show you two screenshots, right? See that?
I see that. It's cute.
I'm just going to put that chat on tool for a minute at the side there. Now, there's a Q there. There's an O there that's made into Q. You don't need to pay attention to that for a moment. Bill Pulte, who's put his name there, Pulte, right? Changed it to Pulte. And that's at 3:22 as well, PM, which is Skull and Bones, isn't it? Number.
I didn't know that.
He put on 20th of December 2023, do you trust the plan? He also tweeted July the 8th, 2022, trust the plan and RC. SG. Now, let me show you this. Q 2597, December the 12th, 2018, posted, confirmed, O made into Q, more to find over time, happy hunting, Q. That was a Q drop from 2018. Bill Pulte in 2024 on December the 12th, an exact 6-year delta.
Wow.
Posted that.
Come on. See, I see stuff like this. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Exactly.
What the hell?
So when you're following that kind of stuff, that's when, like, your point is, okay, he trusts him, he knows him. But then when you have that knowledge or that understanding, you're like, goes a lot deeper.
Oh, yes, it does.
Yeah.
A lot longer.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that is amazing. I mean, there's a lot of people out there digging, this is a bit stretchy. Do you know what I mean? This could relate to that. But that is a banging 6 years.
No, but then you see something like that, you're like, okay, I know nothing.
Yeah.
Exactly. We all feel.
Okay.
You know, when I see things like that, I mean, this is, I don't know if I've got it here, right? General Flynn and his family. I'm sure I have. You can say something for a sec, Elisa.
Well, so we were talking about the bloodlines the other day when we were talking with Brian. Brian has connections that he's not really divulging right now. So let's leave it at that. However, he has a very strong understanding of the Kowloon bloodline. Remember we spoke about that, the Jesus, the Druids, and so I guess my mind was blown a little bit, because when I look at that family tree, you've got, General George Patton, who Brian says is the biological father of Donald Trump.
Right.
And then you have, I don't know if you're aware of who George Patton's brother was.
No.
Benito Mussolini.
Come now.
Now, apparently,
they do look alike.
Allegedly, he was a good guy, but we know through history he's bad and awful and terrible, and they dragged him through the street and all that, right? So that makes you wonder with open eyes, why would they do that to someone? If he, like public. Okay. And then what we also heard was that Trump was raised by the Trump family, okay, because they have a very special lineage through Scotland, okay, and allegedly he had another biological brother, not the Trump brothers, but another brother that maybe in the military somewhere. So my point is, and then there's all kinds of other things that, we could talk about, but you really have, if you look at it, you've got the bad bloodlines and the good bloodlines, and it's just this war.
Yeah, right. That's the other thing. So it's almost like there's this war, and then there's little old us. We're just kind of just here. Which I think is, it's actually kind of nice, because, it's good to feel unimportant. So when I go to Europe, I always have the same feeling, which is why I love to go to Europe. And Stu, you're in Europe, and I don't know if you relate to what I'm about to say.
We're not part of Europe or the European Union.
No, Europe, continental Europe, even though it's an island. But here in the States, everything is so new. It's a new country, it's 1776. The architecture only goes back so much. But then when I go to Europe and I step into a 1,000-year-old church, I'm just like,
yeah, it is a really cool, it's a
I
very
love feeling insignificant. For me, it's very therapeutic, because I tend to think that my words carry a lot of weight in what I do, and, I'm affecting people's lives every day. So for me, therapy is like, walking into a 1,000-year-old church and being like, I'm nothing. There's been generations of people that have come to this church to pray, thousands of years, 1,000 years, hundreds of generations of families. And here is little old me coming in 2026 into this church. And it's just like, and to me, it feels great.
There's a very spiritual way of looking at that too, that you're drawn to certain places because you were there before, and our ancestors are us. If the reincarnation,
maybe.
Right, that we are all our souls have been here, over, who knows?
I certainly, everything's possible.
Oh, yes, it is. I just did a very quick dig there, seeing as Mussolini looking like George Patton. And this article came up, which is interesting. YouTube removes QAnon videos falsely claiming Donald Trump is Mussolini's nephew. And
I mean,
interesting, isn't it?
Could be.
It's all very interesting. There's a lot to this family. And, think about as Catholics, right? Because we were both raised Catholic. You say, think of the implication of Jesus marrying and having children.
Right.
What does that do? I mean, and we know they
they try to, that is it, because it doesn't make sense to me as a man that if I'm this powerful guy with leaders, that I'm not going to have a lot of girlfriends. I'm going to have a lot of girlfriends.
Or you're not going to want to propagate. You know what I'm saying, right?
I mean, look, Lisa, back then there was no TV. There were no video games. There was no social media. There wasn't a lot to do.
Right.
So you're not going to go knock up some girl? Of course you are. Why wouldn't you? It's Saturday. I got nothing else to do. The Sabbath is over. It's party time.
That's a very interesting way of looking at it.
I mean, they're living in the desert and like eating dates. I mean, come on. Of course
Eating dates and going on dates. Of
course you are. I mean, you might even knock up your cousin for fun.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
I mean, really think about it. I mean,
but on a more spiritual
there's
level.
There's no airplanes. There's camels.
Well, no, you're making Elisa blush, aren't you?
I think so. No, I mean, but if you think of it this way, like if Jesus came here to enlighten, right, then why wouldn't he want to have that seed continue? You know,
he's got a lot of seeds out there. A lot of seeds. We just don't know about it. Absolutely. Because it didn't fit the purposes of the church.
They couldn't control us.
Because you then take power away from the church.
Yes.
If he has bloodlines. Because then those are the seeds of God. They have the power. So how can you centralize power if God's seed is propagated? Exactly. Duh.
And that's what a lot of this war has been about. It's about killing off the bloodline.
Yeah.
The good bloodline.
It's God's bloodline.
Yeah. Yeah. Stu, any other newsworthy things that this man needs?
So we can maybe go like another. I have to help one of my young lawyers. He's a little bit nervous. I have to teach him how to do something.
That's all right.
I've worn proper lawyer clothing today.
Wait, what does that say?
This is from the Monaco Grand Prix.
Oh, Monaco. Okay.
Oh, okay.
And this is my Formula One hat.
Nice.
Okay, well, I am just going to say something, because when I put that Mark Abrams video on earlier, you tapped your screen, Rene, whatever you were doing, it sounded like a machine gun going off. Bang, 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 bang.
I think it was just me putting the volume on.
Okay, yeah, maybe. And you've been a bit stuttery again today. So a man with your AI technology and mindfulness, maybe you can spend your Friday getting your podcasting studio. Now you're an international superstar of the podcasting world. Getting sorted for next week. I've
got to come up with some kind of like interesting background or something.
I'm gritting my teeth saying that, Elisa, because I can just imagine we'll come on next week and he's in a studio. It's like fucking Phil Bruce in that thing. He's got everything going on everywhere. He looks much better than that.
Yeah.
I'm going to see if I can figure this out, but I'm not going to do it. I'll have one of the young people that works for me. I'll give it to them as an assignment.
Yeah, I see. I don't even know if it's your internet connection, because you do say you've got a lot of people on a lot of screens there in your office, haven't you? Taking up a lot of the bandwidth and stuff. So
yeah. So I have them on screens. You know, this is still like a leftover from the COVID era. Yeah. But I liked it because it gave me freedom. And at the end of the day, that's another thing. So I now justify everything I do, every risk I take, with this answer. You ready for the answer?
I am.
Does freedom have a price? It has no price. It's priceless.
Yeah.
So whenever my friends see me taking like a big bet risk on something, like on some asset that I'm buying, they look at me like, are you crazy? It's like, yeah, but if I'm right, I'm free. Does freedom have a price? It doesn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't. It has no price. So That's why people should not invest. They should not even work for food, because food is overrated. The one thing that has no price is freedom.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Unfortunately, the things that do have price is a top of the range Dell XPS or Apple Mac laptop. You didn't get yourself sorted there.
Hey, tell us, let's just go over dates for a minute, because you're going to be gone for a couple of hours.
That's July. So I've got some stuff going on, but it doesn't get crazy till July.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not doing a red pilling Rene next Friday, are we? Because you're coming on with Razorwick on Thursday.
Oh, let me make sure that's in here.
The 11th for the Ethiopian Bible conversation.
Ethiopian Bible podcast. Absolutely.
Yes.
What time is that on for?
10:30 Eastern.
10:30 Eastern. Let me write that down.
Yeah, and then following weeks it will hopefully be every Friday, same time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then the only thing is that July is going to be a little crazy for me.
Okay.
First, I have to go to DC because my daughter's taking the classes at Georgetown, so we have to set her up with that. And then I have a week, kind of like intense work, and then it's off to Scandinavia for 2.5 weeks.
Okay.
Well, that's good. Well, if Tulsi Gabbard drops all this shit in the next 25 days and stuff, we might all be taking July off. But see you in Scandinavia.
Yeah.
Well,
Hey,
no, me and Alicia go to Costa Rica first, don't we?
Yeah, he's going to come with us. So
you go to Costa Rica?
Not right this second, but that's our plan, because Carol Maureen Friesen has a healing center down there, which a lot of our community has gone to, and it's just amazing.
That's one of my favorite places for fishing.
Yeah, you had said that.
Oh my God.
So
I love Costa Rica. When is this Costa Rica trip?
We don't have it planned yet, so we really should probably start planning it. Can't just
May I suggest, because I know the seasons there, when to go.
Sure.
Not just for fishing, but also weather. You do not want to go to Costa Rica now. It rains every day.
Okay.
You want to go mid-December to mid-March.
Okay.
Do not go in our summer months because it is thunderstorm after thunderstorm after thunderstorm.
Good information. And listen, I sent you a text and you never answered me.
Oh.
Because we have to plan, and this doesn't have to do with our podcast, Stu, but we have to plan a trip to Cuba. We have to look at
I saw that
as a family, because it's just amazing. This is part of the United States now.
No, but you have to understand, for my family, this is like a Muslim going to Mecca. This is a big deal. This is a country that was taken from my family since my parents were children.
I know.
And yeah.
When I was on the show the other day, I literally had to hold back tears because I had a conversation with Vivian, George's mom, when this all started with Cuba. And of course, she was looking from a normie perspective, and she looked at me and she literally I almost cried with her. She was like, I wish Trump was around then. That was her way of saying that it's finally time,
Well, they lived, from what I understand, there's also always hyperbole in all of these stories when you're looking back on your childhood. But it was really, for them at least, it was really kind of like a nirvana kind of place.
Magical.
I mean, I think everyone talks about most people talk about their childhood. The ones that
I don't talk about Queens like it was freaking,
right. No, but the way they describe it, it's like a fantasy.
Yeah, they had a beautiful life and it was stolen violently. But anyway, we could talk more about that.
Of course. All right, so I'm gonna go help this baby lawyer.
Okay.
I'm gonna go teach him. I'm gonna put him at ease.
Okay, cool. And then we'll see you next Thursday, 10:30. We'll send the link and the reminder, but I think that's going to be a fun show.
And how long will the show be? Just so I can just kind of gauge my afternoon.
Razor Rick, who we love, is a good talker. You're a good talker. So, I mean, realistically, I think we're looking at least 2 hours. Realistically,
let's do it. Awesome.
We want to do it.
Greatness. All right, guys.
Good to see you.
All right.
Have a good weekend, guys.
Take care, Rene. See you later. Bye. Go on then. I'll get rid of him. Yeah. So, yeah, that was a great show. So that's excellent. Oh, that gives us a bit more time. We've got a chat in an hour, haven't we? Which is an offline thing. So,
yeah. So, yeah, I think we could end it here. You and I will let us reconnect at 10 to do. We have a little bit of business to do a video, and then we have a meeting at 10:30. But this is a great way to end the week. We have no family chat tomorrow, no Jason today because it's fortnightly. But we've got an exciting week next week coming up. I think everyone's going to love to see who our guests are. Do you want to tell them or you want to surprise them?
I can't remember.
Well, Monday on Respect.
Yeah, I know who they are. Yeah. Mark Messina and Kathy O'Brien.
Yep.
8-track. Mark. Tuesday the 9th. Flat Earth Dave.
Yep.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah. Wednesday we have, of course, midweek medals with Matt Geiger.
Yeah.
And then you guys have heard us talking. Thursday, 10:30 Eastern, 3:30 UK. We've got Thursday Thunder. We've got Razor Rick, and Renee's going to join us for a kind of a deep dive into the Ethiopian Bible.
Yeah.
And then we're back on Friday.
No, because I have got my show on Thursday at 6 p.m, which is Join the Queue, episode 4 with me, Charles Foxtrot and the Maestro. And then at 5 p.m. Eastern that day, or 10 p.m. UK, Elisa starts her new spin-off show. Would you like to talk about that?
I would. So we have a spin-off show. The ladies, Stu's with the men, I'm with the ladies, and we're going to be doing a fortnightly show every 2 weeks. Myself, Laura Eisenhower, and Emily Tarani, called Rising Through Motherhood. And so it's not necessarily intel type stuff. It's a little more spiritual, a little more talking about, being mothers, being parents, being married, being divorced, how we grow, in spite or in addition to this role as mothers, what that role means to, the collective and to our personal lives. And what we're hoping to do, what we're planning to do, is to also have some guests on. So we nothing to announce right now, but we're going to try to bring on other kind of, powerful moms, if you will. So we thought it would be a great, Laura and I were talking about this about, oh my God, like a year ago. We got into a personal conversation at one of the events that we were at together. And we were talking about just like our own personal, like the kids and this and that. And, when you're divorced and when you're married, what happens, and just the stress that we find ourselves under, and are we doing the right thing? And are we helping our kids? Or so she said, wouldn't it be great to do a show about this? So, Laura is an astrologer and she does readings. I'm a life and health coach, and Emily's also a life divorce and career coach. And we're all at different stages, but we're all moms. So so we're really excited about this. We've been trying to pull this off since January. So
yeah, sounds great. And it's a bit girly for me. I like it. No, just joking. I will be there. Really looking forward to that in the chat, doing a bit of moderation. Maybe if I wouldn't have thought I'll have to do any moderation for that whatsoever, but I enjoy it when Elisa's in the chat when I'm on the Join the Queue. A Dutch Rambler said this, Rene, ? Well, I think if you mean Rene that we just had on, Rene Garcia, he will be on with us on the Razor Rick show on Thursday Thunder next week, discussing the Ethiopian Bible, because he said he was interested in that. So there will be no red pilling Rene this coming week, and English Hawk said, is BB Maguire coming back on any time? We haven't got her scheduled in, but we'd love to have her on. She's an amazing guest. And then on Friday, we've got Jason Q Deeper Dives, 12:30 Eastern, 5:30 UK. And Family Chat, episode 12 on Saturday the 13th. And we would love some of you people to come on and join us and say hello. Yeah. It's we'll be gentle with you. All you've got to do is come on. You don't have to show your face. We'll just ask you about how your awakening happens, you know, maybe the COVID years, the insanity and stuff like that. And you can just join in the fun. And it's great. We love you all. And be good to see some more of you on sometime. The links will go out everywhere. Oh, and we're also starting our newsletter going out for everyone subscribed on our website.
Yeah, they put your email in. Yeah, so that
patriotsacrossthepond.com, and a box appears up. Subscribe to email or whatever it says. Put your email in there, and then on a Sunday at the start of every week, you will get a bit of information and our weekly schedule, all the times we're going on and all that, which I do on a Sunday, and then Elisa sends the email out.
Yeah, so all right. Well, thank you so much, guys. Have a wonderful rest of your day or evening. And we will be back at you on Monday at 10:30.
Yeah, where we go, when we go, all people. Have a great weekend. See you later. Bye.
Make sure you're watching Stu's News and Patriots Across the Pond for some of your awakening information. Amazing guests every week from Monday to Saturday. Visit patriotsacrossthepond.com and follow Stewie and Elisa today on Rumble for the live shows. And remember, where we go one, we go all.
In a world flooded with noise, clarity has become rare. People are questioning what they're told and searching for something real. Mr. Heal's modern wellness meets old school remedies. CBD tinctures, methylene blue, gummies and edibles, THC-free wellness, and functional remedies crafted with old school care and modern precision. Biozox, a trusted source for ivermectin and fenbendazole. Biozox, believe your health decisions should be yours, not dictated by politicians or big pharma. Crafted with purpose and precision, freedom forged coffee, cacao and mushroom tinctures, small batch roasted coffee, rich cacao and functional mushrooms crafted with purpose. Verity Metals, redefining what precious metals investing should be. Why choose Verity Metals? We're not just another gold dealer. We're a trusted retirement partner. Our clients choose us because we lead with education, integrity, and transparency. Medical bills are the leading cause of bankruptcy in the United States, accounting for 66.5% of bankruptcies. We can all agree the healthcare system is broken. There is an alternative, impact health sharing, which Yahoo News is calling the disruptor in the $4.6 trillion healthcare system. For more information, visit patriotsacrossthepond.com.